Okay, Guster is. Are you going to listen? Okay, let's just. Hi, everyone. Let's just get to the Bible. Read from this book. Sorry, not working. It's reading from the Jewish Bible, the Tanakh, the Holy Scriptures, New JPS translation. Okay, it's Genesis 32. Early in the morning, Laban kissed his sons and daughters and bade them goodbye. Then Laban left on his journey homeward. Jacob went on his way, and angels of God encountered him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he named that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, and instructed them as follows. "Thus shall you say to my lord Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, I stayed with Laban and remained until now. I have acquired cattle, asses, sheep, and male and female slaves, and I send this message to my lord in the hope of gaining your favor." The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau. He himself is coming to meet you, and there are 400 men with him." Jacob was greatly frightened. In his anxiety, he divided the people with him and the flocks and herds and camels into 2 camps, thinking, if Esau comes to the one camp and attacks it, the other camp may yet escape. Then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, 'Return to your native land, and I will deal bountifully with you.' I am unworthy of all the kindness that you have so steadfastly shown your servant. With my staff alone I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. Else I fear he may come and strike me down, mothers and children alike. Yet you have said, I will deal bountifully with you and make your offspring as the sand of the sea, which are too numerous to count." After spending the night there, he selected from what was at hand these presents for his brother Esau: 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses and 10 he-asses. These he put in the charge of his servants, drove by drove, and he told his servants, "Go on ahead and keep a distance between droves." He instructed the one in front as follows: "When my brother Esau meets you and asks you, 'Whose man are you? Where are you going? And whose animals are these ahead of you?' you shall answer, 'Your servant Jacob's. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau. And Jacob himself is right behind us.'" He gave similar instructions to the second one and the third and all the others who followed the droves, namely, "Thus and so shall you say to Esau when you reach him," and you shall add, "And your servant Jacob himself is right behind us." For he reasoned, if I propitiate him with presents in advance and then face him, perhaps he will show me favor. And so the gift went on ahead, while he remained in camp that night. That same night he arose, and taking his 2 wives, his 2 maidservants, and his 11 children, he crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After taking them across the stream, he sent across all his possessions. Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. When he saw that he had not prevailed against him, he wrenched Jacob's hip at its socket, so that the socket of his hip was strained as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for dawn is breaking." But he answered, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Said the other, "What is your name?" He replied, "Jacob." Said he, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with beings divine and human, and have prevailed." Jacob asked, "Pray tell me your name." But he said, "You must not ask my name." And he took leave of him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, meaning, "I have seen a divine being face to face, yet my life has been preserved." The sun rose upon him as he passed Peniel, limping on his hip. That is why the children of Israel to this day do not eat the thigh muscle that is on the socket of the hip, since Jacob's hip socket was wrenched at the thigh muscle. Okay, that was, I hope you all could hear that because I'm kind of not near the microphone, but that was Genesis 32, very fascinating. This translation, translated divine beings. In other translations, it's, I think, the angel of the Lord. And then I think other translations, well, the idea, like some scholars believe that Jacob wrestled with an angel. I believe all my information is rusty, so don't hold me to it. But some would say that he actually wrestled with God. It's mysterious, isn't it? Very interesting. But and then his name changed. And who has the power to change your identity, your name, but God. So he became Israel after he wrestled. And so maybe that should encourage us to wrestle with God sometimes. You may end up walking with a limp, but you'll receive a blessing and a new identity. Okay, so then where am I? I think it's Mathew 24. Is that right? Yeah. I think we're on Matthew. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think it's Matthew. Yeah, Matthew 24. Okay, Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came up to him to call his attention to its buildings. "Do you see all these things?" he asked. "Truly, I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down." As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. "Tell us," they said, "when will this happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Sorry, you can hardly see Guster because he's so black. "Guster, show your eyes. Give us some light." Well, we'll just keep reading. Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming, 'I am the Messiah,' and will deceive many." Oops, I lost my place. "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, Many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath, for then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. At that time, if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "There he is," do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you ahead of time. So if anyone tells you, "There he is out in the wilderness," do not go out. "Here he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door. Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a hand mill, one will be taken and the other left. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let his house be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, "My master is staying away a long time," and he then begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, that's the end of Matthew 24, a very famous passage, and one that I have often quoted and really love. But of course, that I'm a very sensitive soul, and so when I read those verses, like when Jesus says there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, and that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, it, it's hard for me to read those parts. Yeah, that part's difficult, but like I said in another video, Jesus is in all. Consider the lilies. He's very strong, and he's God, and he's holy. So Jesus is very relatable, but he is also other, he's human and he's God. So, that part is other. But anyway, I'm rambling, but we can know the goodness and character of God by looking at the cross and knowing what Jesus did for us. That's love, that's goodness, and that he would die such a death in order to redeem us and save us, which is also a great mystery, and I'm sure I'll spend my entire life trying to wrap my mind around it. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. All right, God bless. Bye.